Welcome to Engagement Fundraising, where you'll learn how busy fundraisers like you are generating more major and planned gifts at lower costs. Brought to you by iMarketSmart.com. Be the fundraiser you always wanted to be. Learn more at iMarketSmart.com. Also, coming soon, the Engagement Fundraising book, found wherever books are sold, including Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Pre-order today at EngagementFundraisingBook.com.
Tim!
Woo! I gotta make sure those levels are set.
Sorry, Tim.
Greg, how's it going?
I was excited to see you. You have so much going on. You're such a busy guy.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
I'm so impressed. I'm always impressed with you. Oh, I bought a Tesla.
It's all charged up, ready to go.
Yeah, it totally is charged. It's the best car ever. I'm so in love with it. I love it. Reducing my carbon whatever.
Yeah.
And
with great performance.
The performance is great. I feel good. I might even look good.
Yeah.
Happy. But yeah, it's a computer on four wheels.
Yeah.
With a little electric motor.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sounds cool.
So simple.
But we're not talking. Yeah, we're not talking about Tesla today, though.
No.
No.
What are we talking about?
You.
We're doing.
Yeah.
We're doing a history. What do you call that? Retrospective.
Retrospective. Yeah.
Is that it? I don't know.
I think so. So we've never really on this podcast really learned why people should actually listen to what you have to say.
Yeah, right? Who is this guy? Why should I care? Yeah. I mean, well, we've told a little bit about my story that I'm essentially a pissed off donor, right?
Yeah, we've told that much.
So people get that.
Yeah, and we've had intermixed little stories. You know, Bob Palace, I think, was mentioned at least once in this podcast, but
yeah,
not a full blown out, why should you care what you have to say kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
it's time that people really learned who I am. We need to do time travel. We need to get in like a time travel vehicle. That's what we're going to do right now.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do right now. Okay. Everybody, all the listeners, okay, click your heels and say,
there's no place like home. There's no place like home.
Oh my God. Holy cow. Dude, where are we? I feel like I'm in a movie. It's like 16 Candles mixed with Raiders of the Lost Ark and Say Anything. You weren't alive back then.
I was not. No. I'm not even here. I'm dead. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a twinkle in the eye. We're in the 80s.
Woo.
Wow, we're in the 80s. It's awesome because every great movie is about to come out.
Now, has Return of the Jedi come out yet? Is it? That was 83, I think.
Something like that, yeah. We're in like 82, 83, something like that.
Okay, excellent.
Looks like that. I see a lot of hair. There's an IROC Camaro. I hear Bon Jovi on the radio. Awesome.
So
you look so bewildered. You're like, where are we?
Where are we?
And here's the best part. We're in New Jersey.
Oh, gosh. I better hide.
Hold your wallet, brother. Yeah, we're in New Jersey. Forget about it. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. Huh? And we walk over and we see like this little kid.
Yeah.
That looks like you, but younger.
And it has hair.
Has hair still.
Yeah. He was a cute little kid.
Yeah.
Little old ladies used to come over my head and like grab my hair. I'd be like, "What are you doing?" You know, it would not be legal now. But honestly, little old ladies like would run their fingers through my hair. I had this big curly hair. I thought I was like Billy Squire or something. You don't know who that is.
I don't.
All right. So why are we in the 80s? Huh?
So
that's where it all began.
Yeah, where it all began.
Mm-hmm.
So before you got into sales, you were mostly just like interested in design and art and how those two played a role in impacting how people thought about different concepts, or like what's the foundation of all this?
Okay, right? So here I am. I'm a kid in New Jersey. Just was always able to draw, okay?
Yeah.
People want me, can you draw? Yeah, I can draw. And then I draw something. They'd be like, no, that like really looks like a cat. Well, I mean, it's not like a circle with
no stick figures like I do.
Yeah,
I did the stick figures.
Like, no, I just draw the cat. And it looks like a cat. And people are like, holy. So I could draw anything and I could paint. I would draw, I'd paint. Yeah. What else is there? I don't know what else. But I didn't do sculpture. But I was always artist kind of guy. I was not much of a writer guy. I could always draw, and people would always ask me to draw stuff like they'd give me a denim jacket.
Yeah.
At least in New Jersey was to paint like an album cover on the back
Okay.
of the denim jacket. Okay. And there's a way to do that with fabric paint. And I would be painting like Black Sabbath album cover on the back or Def Leppard. You probably never heard of any of these bands.
Black Sabbath,
Yeah,
I've
you
heard
know
of.
Black
Come on,
Sabbath?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Ozzy
Yeah.
Osbourne. And that song, the Iron Man, they brought it back for the Iron Man movie. So yeah, I would paint those, and then I had a friend who was running for middle school. We called it junior high school student council.
Yeah.
So I would paint posters, put them up all over the school, and then he won. So that was cool. And in high school, I was like class artist. I mean, they in the yearbook. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm the class artist. That's my big. I liked art, but I also liked how copy, when mixed with visuals, really created this powerful 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
And, whether it's a billboard or even a TV commercial, but mostly like magazine ads, I just found them so fascinating. How do you communicate something in a message that builds a brand, motivates people to get off their ass and go buy something?
Yeah. And that was the day when magazine ads really were impactful. That was a primary way people saw information like that.
Yeah, it was for real.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just actually look at magazines. I would leaf through them just to look at the ads all day. I mean, I would spend hours reading ads, trying to determine, is this a good one? Is that a bad one? Will that work? And we didn't have research. We didn't have any way. And then like the first business book I ever bought, I think it was 83, was a book called Ogilvy on Advertising. I must have been 13 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
Yeah, what are 13-year-olds doing?
Right.
That age.
13-year-old. Well, I mean, I didn't have that much to do. I don't know. It wasn't like today.
Right,
Parents
yeah.
were shuffling their kids all over the place.
Yeah.
Plus, my parents, my mom wasn't all that well. My dad left when I was 12. I had a lot of alone time. I got to be honest. My mom had to go to work. And so, I would lose myself in looking at ads and coming up with ideas for rock bands and names and trying to design album covers and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That was me. That Ogilvy, I still have that book. That's my first book. It's sitting right there on the shelf. And if you leaf through that, it's just all ads.
Yeah.
And talking about ads and the business. I wanted to have my own ad agency. I thought
Right.
I wanted to have my own ad agency.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. I'll flip forward just a little bit because my first job in college was working for a tiny little ad agency in Bethesda, Maryland. My job was to work the typositor machine.
Okay.
Okay. And you're like, what the hell is that? So there were these art directors and copywriters and, of course, account executives and finance, whatever. So the art director or the copywriter, they'd come up with an idea for an ad and they'd sketch it pretty much in pen.
Yeah.
They'd say to me, well, here's the headline. Huge sale today only. All right.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
sure.
the headline, right? And then they'd write it down on a piece of paper and they'd say, Greg, give me this in Helvetica, 44-point Helvetica, 2 lines, broken like this, all caps.
Yeah, and there's a different character in this machine for every variable that you have access to.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it's a machine, and it was a photo on photo paper. It would put a little bit of light of the letter, right? So here's what you do, okay? You go in there, and what did I say? Big sale,
Yeah.
right? Big sale. Okay, find Helvetica, 44-point. Get the B, all right? I got the B. All right, put the B in there. All right, where do I want to put it? Okay, I'm going to put it right there, B. All right, click, zzz, done. All right, now I need the I. Okay, I'm going to go get the I.
And you're taking care of the spacing and all this. And
the spacing and all that, right?
Yeah.
And then I'd bring it to the art director. And of course, he's waiting so that he can then glue it on this like sheet of paper.
Yeah.
Where some other artist is doing something else. So I'd bring it out there. So I'm all happy. I'm done. Big sale. You know?
Yeah.
And I bring it out to the art director and I say, here you go. And he's like, and he writes on it.
Yeah.
And he says, okay, move this a little tighter, make that a little wider. And actually, I think I'll go with 40 point. So da-di-da-di-da. I go back in there and I do the whole thing.
Yeah.
I do that like like 3, 4, 5, 6 times.
Yeah.
And then finally he's happy and they lay it down. And then they show it to the customer and maybe the customer's unhappy and we have to start all. It was insane, dude.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Wow.
That was the way we did it.
That was the way it was done. Okay.
That was the way we did it. That was my first job. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I just wanted to shoot my... But actually, we had no idea it was so painful.
Right, because that's how it was.
That's just the way it was.
Yeah. It's not like today where you can just, in your software program, lay things out. And
Yeah.
yeah. Back then, that's how you do
So
it.
hold on. Back in high school,
Yep.
my dad left. I don't blame him. No, I mean, look.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you wonder if it's your fault. But there's all kinds of other stuff there. Anyway, he left. He moves to what I thought was like South Jersey. It's really Central Jersey. It's Princeton.
Mm-hmm.
I lived up near the city.
Yep.
So he moves down there. Anyway, he lived in Princeton, New Jersey, and go figure, but in the townhouse right next to him, essentially, is old man Bart Cummings.
Okay.
I always call these people old man.
Yeah.
He was an old man, though. And this guy actually knew David Ogilvy, who wrote that book.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I never got to meet David Ogilvy, but this guy, Bart, used to run a huge ad agency in the city, and he just retired to Princeton. I would talk to him, and he'd tell me about how he'd ride trains around America, you know, dealing with clients, and he was the big guy on Gleam toothpaste account.
Yeah.
Gleam toothpaste? What the hell is that? I don't know.
I'm just saying, but I have never heard of that.
I know, and this is like, then they made a show called Ad Men. There was a show about these advertising guys.
Yeah.
How they drank these martinis, and they're just spending these budgets on magazine ads and TV ads and all that.
Very glamorous.
Bart was this guy.
Yeah.
He built up this huge agency. Unbelievable. So there he is.
Yeah.
So I'd go into his townhouse and sit in this lazy boy.
Yeah.
You know, lazy boy. And he sat in a lazy boy. It was always dark in there because I guess he had problems with his eyes. I don't know what it was, but it was always dark in there.
Yeah.
And he would just ask me questions. So what do you want to do? He didn't talk like that. But he was an older guy.
Yeah.
And he just, what do you want to, and he was asking me questions about what did I want to do. And he would just talk to me about this stuff.
Yeah.
It was very nice. That only reinforced that I wanted to have my own ad agency.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to have.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Little did I know that there's no ad agencies really anymore. There's some.
Yeah. Not in the way it used to be.
Not the way it used to be. Yeah. So what happened next?
Yeah.
I went to college, failed out of business school.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
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 How many years did you partake in the college experience?
So I didn't fail out of entire college. It's just
the business school part of it.
Yeah, this is what's really crappy about college education back then, and maybe even now, is that they decided that they were going to weed you out. You're going to pay them.
Oh, yeah. That's still a thing, I believe.
And then rather than support you, they're going to weed you out. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's a thing still.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's what they did. I didn't know it. Maybe I had a reading disorder. I don't know. I've never had myself checked out, but I read really slow.
Yeah.
I just don't read really fast, and I have to read like 2 or 3 times to really comprehend something. Mm-hmm. Whatever.
Yeah.
But in business school, they would like history of business was like one of the first courses, and they give you like 12 of these humongous books about the history of business, and I was like, oh my God, I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
Right. And then calculus.
Right.
Couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. History of business. I just remember the first test came around. I was like, I got nothing.
Right.
Calculus, same thing.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I called up my dad. Never forget this. I called up my dad. I was like, felt bad.
Yeah.
And it was interesting though. First semester I had to pay for on my own. Mm-hmm. And my dad said, if you pass, I will pay for the next semester.
Oh, exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
I called him up in tears. And remember, all I want to do is be a businessman and own my own ad agency. So I fail.
Yeah.
And I was never the type of person to say, I can't.
Yeah.
In fact,
it wasn't through lack of trying that you failed.
For my kids, in fact, when they were little kids, they'd say, I can't. I was like, no. Warner's always can.
Yeah.
Right? And back then, I couldn't. I don't know what else to say about it. I couldn't. So I left. I called my dad and I told him, I said, Dad, these 2 classes, and he yelled, at me. He's like, what do you want me to do? This is your problem. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Click. I was like, holy crap. I better figure this out.
Yeah.
I figured it out, I guess, over time.
Yeah.
I did figure it out. So what I figured out was that I could become a journalism major.
Okay.
And they had an advertising sequence in the journalism school.
Yeah.
And I could take design classes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was only down 2 classes. And if I made them up over the summer, I would be able to catch back up.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I got a job over the summer, paid for my classes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now I was kind of back on track.
Right. Yeah.
Back on track. Back on track. But what was good back then also was that it's funny how your failures can turn into your opportunities. Okay,
yeah.
really. Because the fact that I had to stay there over the summer forced me to get a job, and my job was at Washingtonian Magazine in D.C.
Yeah.
Okay, and there they put me in a closet.
Exciting times.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
A closet.
Now
Wonderful.
we had computers, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And we had a computer. It wasn't design computer.
89
It was about 87, 88.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
87, 88.
Yep.
But they weren't the kind of computers that would design stuff.
Okay.
Okay. This is the kind of computer with a black screen.
Command line interface back then. Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. It was. We called it DOS.
Yeah. DOS. Yep.
So there was a black screen with a blink.
Yep.
Right. And they had a database of all their subscribers.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And people would move and people would unsubscribe, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
And some others. So they put me in the closet where they had room to put the computer and me and a desk.
Okay.
And they gave me this pile of papers and they were like, these are the subscribes, these are the unsubscribes, go. And they showed me how to do it.
Okay.
And let me tell you, that computer was hot.
Oh, yeah.
It had a fan, but it was hot. The fan wasn't on me.
No.
And that closet was hot. Right?
Yep.
There was no door on the closet. I was in the closet, but I was I could hear everything going on out there. And out there was the salespeople.
Yeah.
And the salespeople are making cold calls, trying to set up appointments so they could sell advertising space. Right?
Yeah.
I thought, this is cool.
Right.
And I'm listening to them, right? They're getting rejected. Like, rejected their off. It's failure after failure, you know? And I remember asking 1 or 2 of them, like, you know, about what they were doing. And they're like, yeah, I'm just trying to make my rent. And then there was a guy, I won't say his name, but there was a guy who ran the advertising department. And every once in a while, what seemingly randomly, he would just come out and yell at everybody. And tell them that they sucked, their numbers sucked, they weren't getting enough sales, they needed to get out there and get appointments and go sell more.
Right.
So I got tired of doing this stupid job in the closet, and I go and I knock on that guy, that lunatic's door. Okay. And he's like, who the hell are you? And I'm like, hi, I'm the guy in the closet. And he's like, okay. And I go, look, I was wondering if I could take a break from doing what I'm doing and make some calls and set some appointments for these other salespeople.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he's like, you want to make cold calls to set appointments for salespeople? And I'm like, please? And he looked at me like I was nuts.
Right. Who in the world would ever want to do that?
Who wants to do that?
Yeah. Sounds miserable.
So he gave me a phone book and a pen and a pad and a phone.
Yeah.
And he sat me at a desk and he said, good luck. Go for it. So I started dialing and it was pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
You know, and people are hanging up on me and not listening to me. And then there was another guy, a manager. He wasn't the head guy, but he was a manager named, and I'll just give his first name, Byron.
Yeah.
What a great guy. And he came over and I'll never forget, he sat on the edge of my desk and he sat there for like what seemed like all day describing to me what sales is really about.
Yeah.
First, you know, interaction.
Yeah.
And he very patiently, very soft-spoken, he just goes through it and he says, you have to understand that it's all about helping people. It's all about giving. It's all about being a giver. Selling has nothing to do with pushing, manipulating, cajoling, misleading.
So you was hearing your calls and was like, let's
Yeah,
it's
I
on
think
the wrong
he heard
track.
my calls, and I was just trying to, browbeat people into taking a meeting with one of these salespeople.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he just said, it's not what and I always thought that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta take control,
Yeah.
And he taught me, he said, if you give power away, you gain it.
Yeah.
If you give to people in general, they'll want to give to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, all right, totally not what I've seen in the movies.
Yeah.
Totally not what I've ever heard from people, but all right, you have to feel it in your heart. You have to really care. You have to believe that this magazine is worthwhile for them to advertise in.
Yeah.
You really have to believe that. Do you like that? I was like, yeah, I like this magazine. I mean, it was Washingtonian. It's the city magazine.
Yeah.
And I knew people read it. My aunt and uncle read it. It was always on their table, their coffee table. So with that mindset, I was able to make calls and be a helper and a facilitator and be able to close appointments, set appointments for these other people.
This episode is brought to you by us here at MarketSmart and the Engagement Fundraising book, releasing September 18th. The time has come. Feeling like your job is getting harder because donor expectations have changed and competition for the charitable dollar is growing? Finding that the old orthodoxies and conventions espoused by so-called experts in online echo chambers and at conferences don't work anymore? Want to help more people make an impact by facilitating their acts of philanthropy, but feel like too many obstacles keep getting in your way? Then this book is for you. Engagement Fundraising was developed from the perspective of a donor who discovered firsthand that the impersonal spray and pray approaches of his beloved charity were not only offensive, but also wasteful and ineffective. So he took action, and now you can too. With Engagement Fundraising, you can be the fundraiser you always wanted to be, helping wealthy and legacy-minded individuals find meaning in their lives through giving to support your mission. The key is in leveraging smart strategies and powerful technologies to engage them in ways that deliver value and make them feel good. Try Engagement Fundraising, and the results will speak for themselves. Learn more at engagementfundraisingbook.com. Engagement Fundraising releases September 18th. Pre-order today on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Once again, learn more at engagementfundraisingbook.com. Now, back to the episode.
Now, there were some times that people didn't even want to talk to the salespeople or meet them.
They just wanted to talk to you?
They wanted to talk to me. And then I had to learn real quick, like, how much the pricing was and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember one guy was like, yeah. I just want to place an ad. Yeah, I like the idea. I'm glad you called. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for calling, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about what the ad's going to say and all this, and I'm helping them, and I'm visualizing it, and I give them the price because I'm like ruffling through papers. I sold the ad. I think we had a fax machine back then. I think maybe he faxed it, and he signed off on it, and and I got a round of applause. They took me to lunch.
Right, yeah.
It was cool.
Entered sells the dad, yeah.
So that was my first sale ever. So then I go back to school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, hold on. We have a daily newspaper. It was one of the only schools with a daily newspaper.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll sell ads for the daily newspaper.
Sure.
And son of a gun, I became the top salesperson right away, selling the ads. I loved it because I got to take a blank sheet of paper and I'd go to the pizza joint or the this or the that, and I would sketch out ads. Because I could draw. Remember?
Yeah, you combined what you
and I knew what the students wanted. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I knew what they wanted. So I would go in there with an ad drawn. I'd say, look, I was thinking of doing this. You want to collaborate on this? They'd be like, I would never do it like that. The pizza's got to be much bigger. And I was like, okay, whatever you say. Or I'm not doing half off. I'll do 20%. I'm like, okay, fine. And then they buy the ad.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is cool. Right? But if you think about it, it's because I was not just trying to sell them an ad. I gave them something. I put some thought into it. It was relevant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I collaborated. It's not about selling and manipulating and persuading. It's about collaborating.
Yeah.
Fundraisers who are listening to this, ding, ding, ding. I hope you're,
Yeah.
It's the same. So I did that. And then I had this idea because I knew this guy in the ROTC.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that is?
ROTC. I took a ROTC class in college.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't join the military, though?
No, I just wanted a leadership class.
It's great for leadership, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this guy was telling me the summer's coming. Next year, orientation, there's going to be all these kids. It's just such a pain in the ass to recruit these kids on orientation day.
Right, yeah.
So we get a table and we get to hand out brochures
Mm-hmm.
recruiting kids, right?
Yep.
And there's some kids that are easy, no problem. Their parents are in the military, this, that, the other thing, no problem. But there's others that they're with their parents, and the parents are like scared to death that they're going to join the ROTC, and then they're going to join the military, and then they're going to go overseas, and that's it.
Yep.
So he's like, it's impossible. It's very hard to recruit them. I'm like, dude, you're scaring the hell out of people, and you're trying to hand them a brochure. And he's like, well, what do you want me to hand them? I was like, you got to give them something.
Yeah.
Like a notebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like, well, that's a good idea. I don't have any money for notebooks. I go, I'll tell you what. I'll sell ads on the notebooks and you'll give out the free notebooks. And he's like, well, that's a great idea. So then I'm like, well, how the hell do I make a notebook?
Right.
I found a printer in like Montana.
Yeah.
And then how am I going to sell the ads? Well, I already knew a lot of the ads. So I went around. I told him about this idea. We put coupons in the middle of the notebook that are perforated and you could pull them out and all this kind of stuff, right? And I mean, I crushed it in like 3 weeks. I think it was like $8,000, something like that.
Wow.
And then it cost me like $2,000 or $3,000 to print the notebooks.
Yeah.
And the printer wanted me to send him all the money. So I had like maybe a third of the money because I got him to pay up front.
Right, yeah.
From the advertisers.
Yep.
And then I basically sent all the money that I had from them
to get it printed
to somebody in Montana.
Yeah.
There's no internet or anything. I can't check this guy out. So I sent all my money to Montana, and I'm sitting there praying that I'm going to get these notebooks. Otherwise, I got to owe all these advertisers all this money.
Yeah.
And this guy's depending on me so he could do his thing. I was bricks, dude. Yeah, it was scary.
Well, yeah, I bet.
But all my other friends were working and doing all kinds of stuff. They're getting food in their fingernails.
Oh, sure.
And all that. And I was like, well, I'm just selling ads here. It's
not
a big deal. So what happens? I get the books. I get the.
Yeah, you didn't
I
get
them.
scammed. That's good.
Yeah, it's nothing like when you get those notebooks.
Yeah.
That is so cool. You get something like in these boxes, they were heavy. Oh my God, they were heavy. Anyway, so he hands them out. It worked. And I netted like $5,000. I thought I was the richest person in America.
Yeah.
So I'm working at the Diamondback. That's the newspaper.
Yeah.
I'm learning to sell. I'm killing it, making money. I loved it.
Yeah.
If I could have done that the rest of my life,
right.
I mean, what a great job.
Yeah.
After that, I get a job working for a bigger newspaper, a real newspaper.
Yep.
Selling the ads. Love that job. Love that job. Was killing it until one day, and this is an old business.
Okay.
A lot of old people in the business.
Yeah, I mean, it's a newspaper business.
Old timers, newspapers, got, ink in their blood and stuff. All this stuff. Old time Washingtonian newspaper business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they didn't like the young whippersnapper. A couple years in, what was I, 24 years old, associate publisher, pulls me into her office. She says, Greg, you're doing great. Yeah, she was from Texas.
Sure.
Sorry if you're from Texas. I don't know the accent. You're doing a great job. We're going to do you a favor. I'm like, oh, really? What's that? Great thing. We're going to increase your salary.
Oh.
Woo.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But we got a little problem we got to talk to you about. We're going to need to decrease your commission rate. They reduced my commission rate by, I don't know, like 70%.
Oh.
The commission rate.
Yeah,
right?
not so good.
The salary went up a little.
Yeah.
But basically they were capping me. I don't even know if this was legal. But back then I didn't know.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? But I looked at it, I was like, so now in order to make what I was earning, because I was killing it, selling, now I need to sell like 3 times more.
Yeah.
Plus all these old timers, what are they doing? I just see them with their feet on their desk. They're not working.
Right.
They're just like, what's going on? And I later found out they were mad because I was killing it, and they just thought that a young guy should not be able to make that much money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that there was an associate publisher that used to call me into his office, say, where's my Jew boy? Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that.
Oh, that's
but
wonderful.
this company was based in Virginia, and I, from New Jersey. I just figured, well, that's just the way it is in Virginia. So here I am. I'm the Jew boy. Okay, yeah, whatever you say, sir. Yeah. That was nice.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, and you know what? I could put up with the Jew boy thing. I don't know why, but when they got my commission, I was like, I'm gonna look for another job.
Yeah, and this is right after college. Your first job out of college, or
that was my first job out of college.
Okay.
So I go looking in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And by the way, I thought to myself, you know what? This time I'm going to go try to select the job that I want.
Yeah.
I'm good at selling. I'll go find a job. I can sell. I'll just interview like crazy. I'll knock on doors, whatever it takes to find the job. Luckily, I didn't have to really do that. I did have a lot of interviews because what I did was I first sent letters out to a whole bunch of owners of ad agencies and big businesses.
Yeah.
And what I would do is I would think about each of their businesses and do as much research about each business and think about them. And then I would write them a letter. I said in the letter, if you'll meet with me, I will give you a $1 million business idea for free. Period.
Wow.
And then I said, and there was no voicemail back then, I said, I will be calling on this date at precisely this time. I look forward to talking to you then. And that's what I said in my letter. I figured nobody gets letters like that.
No.
Right? So not all the time, but a good number of times, somebody would be waiting for the call at that precise time. And I'd go meet with them. And I'd give them my idea. And a lot of times they'd offer me a job on the spot.
Yeah.
But I wasn't looking for a job yet. I was looking for a mentor. I was trying to see, where do I want to go? Who's going to teach me? Who's going to help me along instead of knocking me down and calling me names? Who's going to help me?
Right.
And then I found this little agency. It wasn't so little. It was about 50 people. Old man Bob Palace's agency.
Yeah.
It used to be one of the biggest in Washington. Had it at about 100 people, and he was on the downward trend.
Yep.
He was getting older. He helped a lot of nonprofits in D.C. and all this kind of stuff. We talked, and I liked him. He was going to teach me.
Yeah.
So I took the job with him. I did take a pay cut, a big one.
Yeah. But you thought you could learn enough from him to...
Well, I knew I could learn, but also... he gave me no cap. I said, if this is the commission amount, promise me you'll never cut my commission. And he said, I never will. And you know what? I worked for him for many years.
Yeah.
Never cut me. He lived by his promise. I just wanted to be able to have an unlimited potential.
Right.
So he actually gave me an office, no windows.
Yeah.
He gave me a pen, a pad.
You got a phone?
A phone.
Yep.
And I even got index cards.
Ooh, very fancy.
Index cards. And I still have them. They're right here. Here, I'll pull them out of the drawer. Yeah, these index cards. Handwriting. He did have one computer in the office, so we could type letters and mail out letters and stuff. But I don't really use that much. So he put me in that office. He gave me the phone book. He said, go set up appointments so we can do some marketing for people. Mostly direct mail, some advertising. I probably made at least 100 cold calls a day.
Yeah.
And I would keep track of every call, and I'd come up with these scripts. Maybe I'll say it this way, and then maybe I'll say it that way.
Because you were learning, because this isn't ad sales anymore. This is a whole different kind of beast.
Whole different thing.
Yeah.
Whole different thing. And I was trying to figure out, what the hell do you say?
Yeah.
How do you get past? And then you have to have a script that if it's this kind of person or that kind of person, so it had to be a science. You had to figure out what works when. How do you say this? How do you say that? What do you do? How can I do something for them? You know, what do they want? So it was hard, man.
Yeah.
I made those calls, and I kept track of every call, every meeting, every sale, all my numbers, all my metrics. I turned it into a science.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of cold calls I made, thousands of rejections, but I built a book of business. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that essentially, fast forward, carried me through into the 2000s.
Yeah. That was your last job before MarketSmart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Old Man Palace's agency got acquired, if you will, by a large printing company, and we did mostly direct marketing. I mean, it's mostly print and direct mail. So that's what we did. We were the in-house kind of creative and marketing. And then around 2005, I started trying out different kinds of things and looking at the internet. It's like, wow, we got to start doing email and websites and microsites and landing pages and all this. Until finally, I think it was 2008, I started helping my favorite charity because I thought they were wasting my friggin' money.
Right.
Yeah, I made a lot of cold calls, did a lot of sales. To tie all this together with fundraising, I gotta tell fundraisers, it's the same. I've heard a lot of fundraisers say, no, we're not salespeople and we're not marketers. Well, guess what? You are.
Yeah. I mean, when you're calling someone you don't know, you gotta make that good impact and be able to build a relationship from almost nothing, basically.
And the way to do it, think about Byron sitting on my desk, the edge of my desk, very quietly looking at me, shaking his head, saying, it's not what you think. It's not about manipulation, coercion. It's all about giving. It's all about being a giver. Deep in your heart, believing that this is the magazine, or in the fundraiser's case, this is the right cause. But then not jumping to shouting from the rooftops how great the magazine is, but it's about shouting, or actually politely painting a picture, or actually drawing the picture of how great the business owner could be and how great the success she could be if she just listens to you. And it's the same thing with the donors. It's not the fundraiser's job to scream from the mountaintops how great the organization is, but to show and paint a picture for the donor or prospective donor of how great the donor can be if they just listen, because you'll be the facilitator. You'll be there to help them and guide them to find meaning in their lives and be the person they want to be.
Yeah.
It's about being a leader, not being a manipulator. And that's what Byron taught me.
Yeah.
And it transfers itself very nicely to the fundraising space. So why don't we get back in our little spaceship?
Yep, let's do it.
You ready? Okay.
Let's do it.
And then,
Whoa.
whoa. That was some ride, dude.
That was.
That was. Why do you look like that? You look. Your hair's all like windblown.
Yeah, it's quite the journey.
Dude, you lost a sandal.
It did. Got destroyed.
Yeah. I feel like I still hear Bon Jovi though ringing in my head. What do you think?
I mean, once it's in there.
Once it's in there, you're right. It never stops. Shot through the heart. All right, I won't do that. All right, we're back. We're back.
Yeah.
All right. Look, I got stuff to do. So that was a nice little trip down memory lane. I hope people found some value in that.
Yeah, I hope so. I think there were some good lessons to take away there.
It's always nice to talk about myself, right?
Right? Yeah. Who doesn't like doing that?
I don't know. Never really done that.
No.
I'll give this to my kids so they understand
Right.
what the hell I got like this.
Yeah.
All right. So, Tim, thank you. That was fun.
It was. Thank you, Greg.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Engagement Fundraising. If you like the show, make sure to review it on iTunes and pass it along to a colleague. If you are curious about what we do, check out imarketsmart.com, and don't forget to learn more about the Engagement Fundraising book at engagementfundraisingbook.com. Pre-orders a day on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Once again, learn more at engagementfundraisingbook.com. Thanks again for listening to this episode of Engagement Fundraising.